We know that part of the rhetorical response from Iran is in part to suggest, look, you might have thought that this is where everything is, but we've moved it all around and there may well be other sites. Again, I don't want to ruin that feeling that has been building throughout the day of this being a seismic recorrection of what's taking place. But how should people take, either with a grain of salt or as an insight into what the other hand may be planning, what Iran's rhetorical response is here?
Well, I think there can be multiple truths at once. And on the one hand, I think very clearly Iran has been dealt a very devastating blow, and not merely in the last 24 hours and last few weeks, but you look at what's happened over the past 20 months with their proxy armies in Gaza, in Lebanon, the Assad regime. This was really the vanguard of Iranian power projected abroad, and they are now shattered largely through Israeli power, the pager attack against Hezbollah, the fall of the Assad regime, what Israel's managed to accomplish in Gaza, all of this. But we can't underestimate the regime. This is not a proxy force. This is a country of 90 million people with a revolutionary regime that's embedded itself into every aspect of society. It has a very powerful internal militia, the Basij, which maintains domestic power. It has the IRGC, which projects Iranian power abroad. It has a strong military. So this is not the last whimper of the Iranian regime. And I think given what this regime has done in the past in terms of international terrorism, I think we need to brace ourselves. We haven't seen the end of them, but certainly they've been dealt a very powerful blow. And looking at Donald Trump's statements, the intention is to now compel them, coerce them to negotiate. Whereas previously they were just playing the world for fools and playing them like fiddles. And now they won't be allowed to do that any longer.
See, I'm so glad to hear you talk about that and that concept about those multiple truths, because it is something that has been dawning on me, something that I've been trying to read into, trying to help understand, to explain to everyone watching us this evening. That reality of, yes, has a giant step been taken today? Absolutely. Is it the end? Of course not. We know that literally Iran's ability to respond and cause damage, as we just saw with Sophie, in Israel is still in existence. The ability potentially for other sites to be where other things have been taken when it comes to the nuclear program, absolutely the case. But give me an idea about what you're hearing from friends and family in Israel about their sense of the past 24 hours in what has been many, many months and obviously many years of tension.
Well, look, I think Sophie captured it very beautifully in her reporting just a few minutes ago. Certainly, there's a sense of fear and anxiety and terror. You know, I'm speaking to my best mate, who formerly of Bondi, Sydney, and has lived in Israel, just north of Tel Aviv, for about 10 years now. He's got 3 young kids, and the attacks are happening predominantly at night. So they're being deprived of sleep night after night. The country's exhausted. They're running to bomb shelters all the time. You know, my friend's describing hearing the whirl of the rockets flying past, and then occasionally it doesn't fly past, and you hear and you feel the impact somewhere in your immediate vicinity. It's terrifying. I've got elderly relatives in Haifa, in the north of the country, who for years lived through Hezbollah attacks, but this is on a whole different scale in terms of the ferocity and sophistication of the weapons. It's terrifying, but at the same time, there's a sense in Israel that they're living through something deeply fateful and significant. I can only liken it to Londoners living through the Blitz. They're all rallying together, and I feel like what they're enduring, terrible as it is, it's a sacrifice in pursuit of a greater good, the defeat of a great evil. And they also feel this great kinship towards the Iranian people. They have no ill will towards them at all. They know that they're the first victims of the Iranian regime, and they yearn for a time again, as occurred pre-79, where the two peoples can live in fraternity and there can be peace between them.
Alex, thank you so much again. I'm not wasting time tonight by talking too much about the Australian government, its response, its lack of response. It's played itself out, and they've removed themselves essentially from the discussion in the issue. But Alex, I was pleased to get you on and get your perspective as somebody who's been very much available to us, very much open and honest about what's been happening in that part of the world. Thank you, Alex. I
Thank you so
appreciate
much,
it.
Paul. Thank you.
All
Cheers.
right.